All right. As you know, my name is Doug, and today I'm going to talk to you about my gynecomastia surgery. I was diagnosed with adolescent gynecomastia. I've had it for about 20 years now. I'm in my early mid 30s. It's caused by in puberty. I guess I had my hormones were all over the place. Too much testosterone, couldn't balance with the estrogen. So pretty much too much estrogen, and I kind of grew female body parts. I used to be a lot heavier than I am now, approximately 100 pounds heavier. I was a big boy, as you can see here. I'm throw up some pictures of my before photos, as well as my gynecomastia photos I sent into for some consultations. Of my chest, you can kind of see the overhang, the puffy nipples, all that. I was classified as a grade 2A. I had breast enlargement. Luckily, there was no excess skin, just puffy nipples, that sort of thing. Even though, I lost 100 pounds, overall, my skin, it's one thing I'm grateful for. I didn't really have much sagging skin. I have a big upper chest, as you'll see in my after photos. It's out of anything, it's probably the one body part that actually looks halfway normal on me. So I started researching clinics and places to go to get my gynecomastia treated. It's been in the back of my mind for pretty much my entire life. Carrying around these big old man boobs in front of me and all that. The time was right. I had a couple extra dollars to spare and figured that let's go get it treated. I went and got some local consultations here. I'm on the west coast of America. So, I went to a few local surgeons, a few local doctors. The prices were all over the place. Anywhere from about 8,500 bucks all the way up to 12,000. That's when I started researching. One thing you'll know about me is I am a huge nerd when it comes to research. I'll extensively research anything there is. It almost becomes a problem, kind of like the, what do they call it? Analysis paralysis, where you'll dig in too much to something and, never make up your mind. So that started. Anyways, I had consultations, all through California, Chicago, there's a pretty well-known clinic. Down in Austin, Texas, pretty well-known clinic. Quite a few of the top doctors on the East Coast in New York. The price is anywhere from $4,500 all the way up to 20 grand. The price difference, they all have their different little procedures and techniques that they use. The cheaper it is, you're going to have local anesthesia. Therefore, you're not going to be put to sleep. You're just going to be numb, kind of, in a translucent type space. But you're going to know what's going on. You're going to feel it. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see it or what, but from what I've heard, they numb it pretty good, and the actual numbing of it is pretty intense. But, we're men here, right? So we can handle it. So I was actually really on board with the local anesthesia. That is what I wanted, mainly due to the lower price point, lower, complications that can come from surgery. Yeah, typically faster recovery as far as, coming out of anesthesia and coming to. So, I'm kind of a cheap, I don't want to call it cheap butt. I'm not going to use the A word here. So that's when I started researching, local community boards, forums, Facebook, Reddit, all the local groups on gynecomastia and people that have had surgery in the past, and found out that it's pretty big over in Europe. There's quite a few well-known clinics in the UK, London area. I reached out for consultations between them, and you're looking at about 3,500 to 4,000 pounds, which, typically 4,500-ish bucks right now, given current exchange rate in American, United States dollars. Plus, you got to pay for travel, airfare, hotels, all the food, all the walking, everything. You're going to be 6-ish, 7 grand, where you can probably, if you want to be put on a wait list here, you can get it done for 4-5 grand. So it was kind of a no-brainer. Maybe that's not the best option. That's when I started finding, cheaper alternatives over in Europe. Turkey is huge for plastic surgery, any kind of surgery, hair transplants, you name it, eyes, lasers, all that. So I reached out to a few doctors over there. I was on board. There was a couple that I really liked. The price was right. I had a good feeling for them. Just their aftercare and their English wasn't that great. I saw not quite a few. I saw a few botched surgeries that they had performed, and it kind of had that in the back of my mind was, do I really want to put my body through this and potentially have a worse outcome than just carrying around a little bit of excess skin? So that's when I came across a doctor in Korea. He was well respected all over the forums. I have not found a single bad thing about him. His name was Sang Yub Yoon with the Silhouette Clinic, and he's out of Seoul, South Korea. He's been performing these surgeries for 20, 30 years. You can actually look him up on the archives of aesthetic plastic surgery. He's wrote quite a few articles that he's had published on there. He actually is the one who, I'm not sure if he invented it or what, but he's the one who trademarked, I guess you could call it, the stab incision, where you'll see after my after photos, he makes a very small incision underneath your nipple. So it's pretty much hidden. It's about 3 millimeters. He performs complete gland removal and liposuction all through that tiny hole. Whereas, the previous ways, some guys would come in through your armpit and they would do the pull technique. They would come in, down, pull it. Other guys will cut underneath your breasts and pull it out that way. In addition, a lot of surgeons, they'll install drains also, so therefore you're going to have more scars, just more cutting on you. And let's be real, the majority of people that are after this gynecomastia surgery are going to be wanting to do it without their shirt on, or be shown without their shirt on. So, more scars, not always the greatest thing to have. So I reached out to them. He's probably performed 6,000 surgeries. If you go on their website, I'll drop a link down below. You'll see it's in Korean, but you can just use it translate on your browser or whatever, mobile phone. And you can see all his before and after photos. Tons of previous clients all through the community pages. Not a single botched surgery. He has published videos on YouTube. In fact, he actually does training. I guess he travels around for other doctors and shows them the correct techniques when it comes to performing this stab incision technique that he is. I don't know. Again, I don't know if he invented it or what, but he's very good at it. So, his prices ranged. They quoted me in Korean won. So anywhere for typically about 1,500 United States dollars to about 3,500, depending on your severity, the amount of lipo that's going to be performed, the excess gland, excess skin, areola removal, shrinkage, or whatever it's called, all that. So again, I was only a class 2A, so I was pretty minor. I was very happy with the price I paid. It was on the lower end of that spectrum. So I went ahead and booked my ticket. I had a 2 weeks notice. I went on, I booked a one-way ticket to Seoul, Korea for $450 from the west coast of America. I went ahead and got an Airbnb for 5 nights in Seoul, actually in the Gangnam district. So it's not like the super tourist area. It's kind of like the more tech sector, finance, huge high rise, real fancy. But I paid $410, I think it was, after fees for 5 nights. It wasn't bad, just a small little apartment. So yeah, why I chose Korea, pretty much their technology. I don't know if I guess it's a first world country, at least in Seoul. It is very, very advanced. It's nicer than, anywhere here on the West Coast as far as cleanliness. Their buildings are amazing. The technology, everything is great. Very, very clean. Transportation system is out of this world. I don't have a single bad thing to say about my trip to Korea. So that was another reason why, is I wanted to go explore. I wanted the experience. I wanted to go see their culture, their quality of life, everything that they had. So, again, booked my trip. My appointment was to show up on a Monday, so I flew in Sunday night at 9:30. All jet lagged, all that. My appointment was at 10 a.m. Monday. Woke up, maybe got like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Got there at 9:30, which they said you fill out a couple papers, hand them your money. They give you a gown, you go change, you come in, and you wait for 10 o'clock sharp. 10 o'clock sharp, the Surgeon Yoon, called me into his office. We went back there, he did an ultrasound. He showed me on the ultrasound where the gland was. Actually, I didn't have very big glands, so as you'll see in my after photos of the complete removal, there wasn't that much that they removed. But just enough to cause puffy nipples and enough to, have that overhang. So he does that. Then he starts marking you up. As you can see, he kind of goes off the ultrasound and kind of shapes your chest off of, I guess, what he wants the outcome to look like, as well as, what he thinks is going to get the best result. So he wrote some Korean letters on me. Again, I don't know Korean. I have no clue what they said. Then I go up against a backdrop. He takes some photos of me, makes me do all angles. Then I go, he's like, all right, bye, pretty much. He's very, very to the point. Bedside manner, just strict. Let's get things done. Let's get you out of here. So that's what we did. I went out to the waiting room for all about 30 seconds. One of the nurses or somebody called me into the back, showed me where I'm going to be recovering in the room, and immediately took me into the surgery room where they had me lay out on just a leather black table. Instantly, there's like 6, 7 people, other nurses around me. They're strapping me to the table. I'm getting an IV, and I'm asleep. So another thing I should backtrack on, for this price I paid, you're getting a full general anesthesia as well as local. So that is huge for the price, because everywhere else that was, in Europe, Turkey, UK, that was all on the lower price point. Even in America, you're only getting local. So I got full general anesthesia and local for cheaper than anywhere I could find here in America. So 10 o'clock sharp in the surgery room, got the IV. I'm out probably 10 by 10:05, 10:15 at the latest. I remember kind of coming to probably about an hour later. They're washing me, and they're in the surgery room. They're scrubbing me down, and I'm being stood up, and they're wrapping their bandage around me, and they're helping me get to my recovery room. I make it to my recovery room probably about 11:30, and that's when my wife was able to come in. So Jessie came in, and I guess she said I acted like I was drunk, which I don't drink anymore, but she said it was entertaining. And instantly, within about every minute, 5-10 minutes, I was feeling better. I was feeling awake. I was probably fully coherent by 12 o'clock. The nurse brought me some Pringles and some fruit snacks, because you have to fast for the whole thing, and obviously I was a little bit hungry by then. And then I waited, and I could hear the surgery and the actual liposuction going off in the other room. And that's another thing with this clinic, is that there's guys waiting. I saw people in and out the entire time. And the thing about Korean culture is they're not really there to talk. They're there for their focus. They're going to stick to themselves. There was no small talk in the lobby, none of that. So this surgeon, Surgeon Yoon, I totally believe he's done over 6,000 gynecomastia surgeries. So anyways, he comes into my room, checks me out, makes me take off that little bandage that they put on. There's no sutures or stitches or anything like that. He only uses glue. He puts on a heavy amount of glue. There's no bleeding, nothing like that. So he wraps me up. They put on the bandages. Not bandages, they're like pads. Then he wraps me up very, very tight. Extremely tight. But again, I'm still under local anesthesia in this general area. I'm not sure what they use, probably like a lidocaine or some type of solution. Hopefully I'm using the right word there. Medical terminology is not my greatest thing. So they wrap me up, and I'm good to go. It's now about 12:30. I'm starving. I haven't even got to explore Korea. I got in at 9:30 the night before, and it's now noon the following day. So we walk out on the street, find a local Korean restaurant, and have lunch. I'm numb. I'm feeling great. No pain at all. Also, I should say that I was prescribed 3 days worth of medicine. You get a Tylenol, which you're supposed to take 3 times a day, an antibiotic, I believe it was 3 times, either 2 or 3 times a day, an antibiotic, and an anti-nausea, or a stomach pill, as they called it. Again, their English isn't perfect. It's not great, but it's enough to make you feel comfortable and know exactly what you're about to get done. So, go out, it's have lunch, and I'm feeling great. Let's go explore the city. So, I ended up walking probably 10,000 steps that day, the day of surgery. The only thing I can say is I tried to ease the way I walked, just to try to mimic the actual falling and the up and down movement of the chest area to put less stress. Rode the subway system, great. Went out to dinner, and we're going to grab some groceries, bring back to the Airbnb. And it was probably about 7:30ish now, probably about 8, 9, 10 hours after surgery. And that's when I finally started to feel a little bit of, just discomfort. I'd say primarily from the very tight bandage that they used. So again, took another Tylenol, went back, and tried to sleep that night, which was the hardest thing in the world, sleeping on your back. The actual pain was not from the surgery or the actual gynecomastia, lipo, anything like that, the cuts. It was from the wrap. He had that wrapped so tight, which I guess was good because there was no drains used, nothing like that. He's trying to stop all the inflammation, all the swelling from occurring. As you can see in here, I'll throw up another photo. This is the morning after. So he said that you can shower the day after and remove the bandage and the actual tight padding foaming that they put on. Then they give you 2 vests to use, not vests, actual other wraps. And I was going to use those. Those were extremely uncomfortable. And again, as I pretensed earlier in the video, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to researching anything. So everyone recommended a compression vest, and there is 1,000 different compression vests out there. I found this one on Amazon. It was called Marina. It was the most expensive by far. It had the highest ratings, and I said, hey, this is a body lifetime commitment. I want the best thing I can put on me. So I went ahead and bought it. And again, like I said, I'm kind of a cheap, frugal type individual. I'm glad I did. In fact, it's right now it's 15, 16 days later. I'm still wearing it. You can see it here. You can kind of hardly tell it's even on when I have a t-shirt on. I've kind of grown accustomed to it. Kind of, makes me feel good. I like it. Keeps you warm too. So highly recommend this. Out of anything I can say about this surgery, this was a no-brainer on doing. I'll drop a link down below. Again, I love it. So, I'm supposed to wear this. He only recommended 2 weeks. I'm not sure why. Most clinics I've had a consultation with recommended 4. So again, I'm still wearing it. I still have a slight bruising, as you'll see at the end of the video with my after photos here at day 15. I think a lot of the bruising, at least in the upper chest areas, was actually from the initial wrap. Same thing with the lower. You can kind of see the lines. He had that so tight. Oh, so again, a couple other tricks I used. My wife helped a lot. She helped me shower the first day. I didn't get the actual incisions wet. I tried to just, kind of put my hair in the back, wash my face, wash the rest of my body, which he said was totally fine. Water bottle, I tried to I tried to avoid any, movement of my arm or my shoulder above 90 degrees here. So drinking, I always use a straw. That was a big help. It only took about 2 to 3 days, and I was, fully, as far as being able to move, I feel like I was good to go. I ended up bringing these collagen supplements, little pouches. They make the powder and the big old tub that most people use. I'm traveling to Korea. I'm traveling overseas. I'm not going to bring a 5-pound tub of protein with me. So these things are very, very handy and relatively cheap. This is the Vital Proteins Marine Collagen. I also had the beef version, grass-fed beef. And this is the Unflavored Sports Research. Again, this is from bovine, so beef as well. Hydrolyzed bovine collagen peptides. It's supposed to help with skin, healing, all that, skin, nails, hair. I figured might as well, a few extra bucks, anything that you can throw at it to make the healing process better, let's go ahead and do it. Recommend those. Otherwise, in the meantime, I got to explore Korea while I was over there. 15,000 steps a day. I got to see some cool temples, learn about their history, eat some good food. From Korea, I'm just going to throw this out there. I went to Japan, went to Tokyo for 4 nights. Again, highly recommend. I figured once in a lifetime, never been overseas, never traveled international. Let's go ahead and do it. So, as far as recovery, they also recommend that you hit the gym within 1 to 2 weeks, which is very unusual compared to every other consultation I've received or read online. They said just start light. So, day 8, I just went all machines, no free weights yet. Just started using, just try to get the movement back. Just trying to get a little bit of blood and flow back in my chest area. Today was days, again, 15 or 16. I actually just got back from the gym. Again, just using machines, a little bit, chest fly, pec fly, a little bit of incline press, still machine. We'll probably wait about 3 or 4 weeks before we actually hit free weights or try to get heavy again. I did notice I do have a little bit of a couple bumps here in my chest area. I believe they're called seromas. I believe that's the correct word, where after you perform the liposuction, again, I didn't have much lipo, as again, you'll see at the end of the video. You have the area, the void in your chest where it actually meets the muscle, where they remove the fat or whatever it is, sub-Q, liquid, fluid. It got nowhere to go. So water pools up or whatever it is, maybe a little bit of blood. But I've been massaging it every single day, 3 times a day, just like this a little bit, kind of back and forth. And it's still a little painful, don't get me wrong. If I push really hard, you can still kind of feel where it was. But it seems to be helping very, very much. Every single day I wake up and look in the mirror, it's a completely different result. I've not had a single puffy nipple. The one thing about Yoon and going to Silhouette Clinic, he does not perform complete gland removal, which in fact he says is completely impossible. And a couple other highly respected clinics have said this. A general surgeon will just say, or most clinics are just after your money, they're like, oh yeah, I want to remove the entire gland. Well, if you remove the entire gland, first of all, you're going to have an inverted nipple. There's going to be nothing behind your nipple or your areola, and it's going to cave in. It's going to look completely awful. And second of all, you actually have to remove a good portion of your nipple to get under whatever it is, your nipple. Again, I'm not a doctor or a surgeon. To cut out the entire gland, it's a lot more invasive, and the end result typically not good. If you do have a inverted nipple situation, they have to go back in and do a fat graft to make your nipple look normal again. So overall, I can't be happier. Again, as you can see here, I still have some slight bruising, again, because no drains were used. The only thing I can think it's from is I'm pretty low body fat, and I don't have that much like extra, I don't know, layers of skin or fat or whatever you want to call it. And so the bruising and the blood, whatever it is underneath there, has the fluid, has nowhere really to go. So it's actually drained. It just like gravity has pulled it down. It's like almost touching my waistline here. Again, it's very, very yellow. I'll throw up. I took pictures from day 1 through day 8 or day 9 every single morning, same time, just to kind of get a general idea. Again, I'm kind of a nerd, just to see what ended up happening. Otherwise, if you have any questions at all about gynecomastia, the surgery, traveling, any doctor recommendations, because I did have good consultations here in America. There are definitely surgeons I would have used if I wasn't trying to save a buck and try to go after the experience. All in, I was probably $3,000 after food, flights, paying for the surgery, maybe slightly more, but still, I wouldn't change it for the world. Very, very happy. Once in a lifetime experience. So again, any questions, feel free, comment down below or shoot me a message.